Thank you so much for sharing your email with me. And my thanks to you is this 30-minute or thereabout presentation, free training on how to make signature wedding photography with immediate effect. There is an opportunity. I am looking to work with photographers on my 12-month program, which we're launching later on this year. And at the end of this presentation, I'll be talking about the opportunity for image critique, where I sit with a photographer for maybe 15 to 20 minutes and we look through 3 images and we delve deep into your photography and into your world, and we see where you want to go. We look at your strengths and weaknesses and we make a plan to help you move forward. Now, I know that's not going to be for everybody, so please do bear with me. Grab a pen and paper, do take notes throughout this presentation, because there are some key things in here that you will be able to take away and use within your own business and make an immediate change. Now, I don't know where you are on your photographic journey, so it might be that you are in full-time employment and you are a photographer at the weekend, a wedding photographer at the weekend, and you want to make that jump and you want your wedding photography to become your main source of income, your lifestyle business. But you're just not too sure about how to make that jump, or you don't feel confident enough to raise your prices to warrant you making that transition. And that's what we're here to really do. We're here to give you the confidence to be able to make that jump and create the work which can talk to your ideal client, and therefore you can price it accordingly. It might be that you're already a full-time photographer and that you're looking just to elevate your game. You want to be more distinguished. You want to be you want to separate yourself from your competitors, from your peers. You want to be charging top dollar prices. You want to speak to a different type of clientele. And by creating something which is a bit more classical and timeless, we're going to help you get to where you want to be. With all and most creative industries, there's always this element of imposter syndrome. And by going through this process, we want to rid you of those feelings as well. So you have real confidence in how you present yourself, how you talk to your clients, how you price, and just generally lifting you up and really elevating your game. So how do we help? So, I've talked about some of these key points already. We want to give you financial freedom. We want you to be able to shoot less weddings, but for more, freeing up your time at the weekend so you can spend more time with your family. We want you to be able to shoot less content during a wedding. We want you to shoot with purpose. We want you to become more observant. So rather than shooting thousands and thousands and thousands of files where you have to edit those down to a 500, we're able to reduce that almost by half. We want you to learn how to communicate and direct your clients, so you can master pose, which brings emotion and impact to your photography, which unleashes your creative potential and gives you the power to start creating signature wedding photography. By shooting with purpose, we're able to, as I said, slow down, reduce the number of files you take, but we become more observant and we can really look around for story. We can look around for beautiful light to light our couples with. We can use our environment to create impact. By slowing down and shooting with purpose, what will happen is we will enhance our level of photography exponentially. Workflows, post-production are all there to help us enhance our photography as well. So we always want our brides and grooms to be the point of interest, the main point of interest. So by doing some useful dodge and burning and cropping, that will also really help refine your style in post-production. And we underpin all of this with the 5 pillars of business. That is how we, as an overall, help our clients. But for today, the purpose of this presentation is really just about creating signature photography, looking at pose, light, composition, and impact. So how do we create signature wedding photography. We can't do this without having our clients on board. We have to have our clients on board because they have to trust us. They have to trust that we have got their best interests at heart, and we're going to be able to create beautiful photography which will showcase their wedding dress, their suits, the location, show-stopping quality photography. And the only way to be able to do this is by managing our clients' expectations. So from the moment that they get in contact with us, we are taking down as much information about their wedding day as possible. What time they start, what time they get married, what time's their first dance, where's the location, are they getting married in a church, do we need to drive from church to venue. We take down all of this information so we can deliver them a photography itinerary which outlines every section of the wedding day. Now, within that itinerary, we're able to build in time to create their signature wedding shots. This is really important because they need to know they're not going to be away from their guests for hours and hours and hours. They only want to be away for about 30 minutes tops. And it might be that we can break that down so we can do maybe 15 to 20 minutes during the drinks reception. And then if we've got beautiful golden hour, then in between courses during the meal or between speeches and turning around the room for the first dance, then we're able to capture some more signature shots there as well. So it's really, really important to be able to build that itinerary, to allow your clients to see that you're in charge and in control, and that you're going to be leading the wedding and communicating with other suppliers as well, taking the whole stress away from them so they can actually have real fun and make the most out of their day. And you're going to offer them an experience. Very, very often we find ourselves photographing in the bride's home for the bridal preparations in the morning. It's a joy to be in a stately home and have all of these wonderful locations where we can just, shoot to our heart's content and create beautiful images. But sometimes that's not always the case. But by allowing us and training our eye to be more observant, then we can walk into any room. Here in this image, it was a kitchen, and we can pre-visualize the image and prepare to shoot it during the wedding day, right? So this is about managing client expectations so they understand that this is how we work and operate. But also, it allows us to slow down. It allows us to see our environment and what we can do to create that image. Now, this kitchen was full of breakfast materials. There was fruit, there was pastries, croissants, there was champagne everywhere, orange juice, coffee. It was an absolute cart crash. But I saw the light coming through the window, and I could see this beautiful black marble tabletop, and I knew that the light would reflect beautifully. So very respectfully, I asked if I could clean away the kitchen, of which everyone rallied around to help, and we were able to capture this beautiful, wonderful shot. She looks absolutely stunning. She's smiling. She's got a fantastic figure, and the way that she's posed with her hands placed and her hip pushed out towards the light, it just comes across, bounces off her straight into that marble tabletop, and that is in someone's home. So it's really easy to be able to create these shots with time because we have become more observant and we can see beyond what was in front of us. Now, I touched on pose previously with her hands and her hip. Now, pose brings so much emotion and impact to an image. It really does. It's so important. And, the bride has gone to a lot of trouble to find her wedding dress. She will have spent thousands of pounds on it, and it's our duty as photographers to be able to really pull that out and make her look absolutely amazing. And it's really very, very simple to do. It can be overwhelming. Sometimes it's very difficult to articulate what we want to try and achieve. And if that is the case, then what we can do is we can download some photos prior to the wedding day of images that we really like. I tend to use images that I see in films or magazines and I show, if I'm struggling with articulation, then I'll show the image, and we will talk about whether we are able to achieve that look or not. In this case, I used an image actually of Demi Moore, and we were able to recreate how she was posed, and it worked very, very well. So there are ways around it if you struggle with direction. It's important to do, as I said, it brings a lot to an image. And also, if you think about it, when we stand in front of a camera, our natural response is just to kind of stand with 2 feet flat on the ground and look straight at the lens, and we look absolutely hideous. But by bringing in, well, some may not, but by bringing in some shape into the body, we enhance the female form. And most wedding dresses actually are quite fitted. So my tip would be to stand in front of a mirror and have a go at placing your feet, one in front of the other, or at 45-degree angle. If you can imagine one foot being here and then the other foot being slightly in front at 45, and just place your weight on either foot and just see how your hips move. Have a crack at rolling your knee over as well, because this naturally folds in the dress as it comes round, which can be very, very striking. In this case, she's actually crossed right over, so she stood at an apex. So she's got one foot which is planted on the floor, then she's brought in her, I think her right leg has come over, and she's planted it slightly adjacent to her other foot, and then we get this beautiful line coming straight through. Her hands placed nicely, so hands always look very big in camera, so we need to be careful how we place them. So here I've placed the palm of the hand at the small of the back at the top of the hip, and the other hand is just resting on her thigh, and it's tucked in very nicely. Now we've created this beautiful pose, but it's also enhanced by the light which is coming through the main window. And I've got her to stand quite tall and look directly out of the window, which creates that beautiful profile. So pose is really important to creating signature wedding photography. It's definitely worth practicing posing techniques in the mirror, so when you go to see your client, you're able to demonstrate, articulate and direct. In this image here, I've got my client to do similar to what the bride was doing in the previous shot, but she's just lifted her leg over up onto the step. And what we do, we get this beautiful bottom, this fantastic shape coming through. It's very, very sensual. It's a beautiful dress. It's laid out perfectly, and she's just looking up to her groom. It's a beautiful shot. It creates so much energy and story. It really is an absolute delight. And when you become more confident and more articulate, this will become second nature. So we move on to composition. And composition really is an essential part of creating a fantastic image, because it enhances the image and it creates point of interest. Now, within this image here, we were in a very plain building, really nothing going on particularly. And I saw through the doorway this beautiful arch of another doorway, which was in fact leading to a kitchen. There was a exit sign above it, beautifully lit with some green plastic. It was fantastic, and the door was slightly open, and there was a cable running out into the door, but with some clever post-production and refinement, I was able to remove all of those distractions and burn down the walls, so our eye travels through the image. Now there's another door here which I've opened to allow the light to flood across the bride, so she's totally encapsulated in this doorway, which creates a beautiful frame and allows her to really pop out of the image. Now she's quite a slight bride, and she had a very flowy skirt, and what I wanted to do was enhance her skirt, so I asked her to stand with her feet apart, one in front of the other, creating an apex, and the dress just fell across the apex, fell across her legs, and it was able to create this wonderful, wonderful shape. It was a delight to photograph, it really was, and I'm so pleased with the result. So this shot's absolutely delightful. I absolutely love it. Composition also brings story to a photograph. Now, we shot this in Mayfair, and interestingly, when we were doing the pre-wedding shoot, which I haven't touched on yet, but doing a pre-wedding shoot allows you to plan your images ahead of the wedding. This saves you a huge amount of time and a huge amount of stress. And you can educate the bride and groom in posing techniques as well. So by the time the wedding comes around, they've had time to practice also in front of the mirror. And it becomes quite it's fun and it creates an experience. But ultimately, it takes the pressure off you during the wedding day. So you know that you want to be able to create these wonderful shots, and you've discussed it with your bride and groom. They're on board with you, they trust you, and then you're able to go out and execute fantastic photography. Now, during this wedding, we hadn't actually spotted these yellow chairs previously, and I remember seeing them and thinking, oh my god, it's amazing, let's just go over and take this shot. I've seen it in my mind's eye, it's going to look amazing, I really want to do it. They were like, yes, whatever you think, we're on board with anything that you want us to do, which was fantastic. And we went and we executed this shot, which went on to win multiple awards, and actually more importantly, hangs in their bedroom, which I'm really delighted about. So look for things that could be obvious, but also look for things that could not be obvious, and bring those elements into the image to create story. Light is obviously one of the biggest elements of photography. Without light, there is no photograph. So understanding light and being able to read light is super important. It creates depth, it creates emotion here, it creates shape and contrast. Now, this photograph was taken in a bungalow. On their staircase, they had moved up into the loft and created a bedroom up in their loft. And on the stairwell leading up, as the stairs kind of came up and then came into the room, there was a Velux window. And as the sun was coming around in the morning, it just it just shone through, creating this fantastic shape. And I just had to put my bride in it. I could see it. I wanted it. She was on board. She was so pleased to be able to execute this with me. We did do a couple of takes to get it absolutely spot on, but you can see the power of that light is incredibly strong. So I've had to really underexpose it quite considerably to retain the detail in the wedding dress and the lace and the veil. Now, where the sun is also very strong on her face, I've asked her to close her eyes. Now, closing a bride's eyes when she's posed in an environment like this also brings a storytelling element, because we wonder what she's thinking about. She's thinking about a groom, it's a big day, it's intriguing. It allows us to really let our imaginations run wild with the shot. So it's an interesting technique. It doesn't work all the time. It's you have to choose your moment for it. But if you feel that it's the right time, then have a play with that. It's really good fun. Then, of course, we've got golden hour. Golden hour is just the best time of day. And those late summer evenings, when the sun just comes down and it creates such a warm blanket around us, it's really stunning. Look at the grass in the background and how the light comes through, the texture that it makes. It really does, bring so much to an image. And we have these opportunities more so towards the end of the summer, when the sun starts to set earlier. But at the beginning of the summer, then it's often quite nice to bring our brides and grooms out in between courses or between speeches and turning the room around for the first dance. There'll be an opportunity there to go out and photograph. So really use that time, because it does create beautiful photography. And you can see that they're backlit. And they've got this rim of light coming around them, which separates them from the background. And it's just delightful. Just be mindful. Again, you might want to reduce the exposure a little bit just to retain those highlights. That's really important, because once the highlight is blown, you'll never get it back. Impact. Impact is one of the most important elements of photography, especially when we are judging it. Now, social photography can become very homogenous, it's very samey, and this is why it's important to create signature wedding photography, because it really does elevate you in the marketplace and talks to a specific bride, where you can really charge good money here for quality photography. But impact also brings us as the viewer. It allows us to entertain the image. It allows us and our imaginations to run, which is really nice for us to do. Creating signature wedding photography, we're creating artwork, and it's nice to be different. It's nice to really push ourselves creatively and create something which is exceptional and no other photographer will be able to create. This is the bride's dad's top hat, so we had some fun with that, and this was taken in a bathroom because the light was just beautiful as it came through the window, and the background was it was clean, it was white, and the contrast between the hat and the background really worked. The way that she's holding the rim of the hat as well works very well. It brings an elegance, a sense of elegance and refinement to the image. She's closing her eyes, so it was a perfect opportunity for that as well. So we're really drawn in, and it just makes for a wonderful piece. Veils are great for creating impact, but we want to make sure that the bride's face is always the brightest. So do use post-production to really tone down the background, allowing our eye just to rest on the bride's face or the groom's face, or indeed the couple. We don't want to be pulled out of frame. We want to retain in the frame. So always be mindful of that. But veils are a great way to create something a little bit different. Here I've taken the veil and I've hung it off the roses on the stone wall, and she's playing with the front of the veil as the wind captures it as well. Stunning, very simple, very easy to do, great facial expression. It was well worth experimenting and getting that shot in the bag. Now, not many grooms within this presentation, but they are fabulous to photograph. They always look so dapper and handsome in their attire. Here, I found a fantastic doorway, beautiful location, leading line straight into his face. You've got a beautiful light coming through, a little bit of Rembrandt light here coming across, falling across his face. He had this fantastic watch. I couldn't resist, but pull it out of the pocket. Let's bring it into the photograph. This is a little bit of fun. It brings a little bit of story. It creates a little bit of impact. It's intriguing. Best of all, when the groom sees that, he has that memory that he had that watch with him on the wedding day. So you're not on your own when I work with you. When we work together, there are several levels of different mentorings, which will be launched later the year. They're being written currently. But what's important is you do have an opportunity to have image critique with me in the coming weeks, which will allow us to delve deeper into your photography and talk more about this training and this presentation, so you can go and make those immediate changes within your work. What is coming is Facebook community as well, so you can share your images. It's a very safe space, and it's really there for you to learn. If you have any questions about your work, your photographs, pop them in the Facebook group, and then I will be there and I will be able to offer you some critique. And as the community grows, they will be able to support you on your journey as well. What's also coming within Fiona and Elizabeth Academy is in-person events, talks and workshops. This is all being announced later on this year, and if you want to come on board, there will be a separate onboarding call. But what's important today is your complimentary 15-minute image critique, where we have some time to really, as I say, delve deep into your business, into your photography, and where we can talk about what we have spoke about today, what I've given you today, and really expand on those topics. So there's nothing left for me to say. 30 minutes is coming to an end. I would love to hear from you. There's a link to my Calendly, so please do jump in and allocate yourselves some time. What will happen is once your time is secure within my diary, I will send you a link to our Zoom call. And in return, if you could please send me 3 of your favourite images for me to take a look at prior to the call, that would be amazing. And I cannot wait to kickstart your creative journey and really help you elevate your game and to give you more information over the coming months about this very exciting platform, which is going to be written for you and your creative journey with it in mind. So I shall speak to you all very soon. Thank you for joining me.